Yo, what's up? DGL7 out here, and just so you know, a lot of people say DSA is taking over New York City. Okay. Well, just so you know, I'm actually running for state assembly in the 36th district, which is actually Mamdani's seat before he became mayor of New York City. And, you know, a lot of people out there, you could say like Antifa, stuff like that, just so you know, I actually am an anarchist. I know this is quite strange for me being a Republican, but it doesn't mean that, you know, I approve of chaos and rioting and all kinds of other crazy stuff. What it means is that I am skeptical of all forms of government, and just like MMA, right, you could say it's no style, right, or it's many styles, it's able to incorporate many styles. That's kind of my idea of anarchism, right? Like, I don't have to be stuck in just one system, right? So really, to me, in the end, it's how you implement it. But, okay, here's just something for y'all to think about, all right? Actually, I work with the disabled, I work with the longest cars men in state and U.S. history. I work with a lot of groups. And out of all the groups that I've approached for help, the ones that have been the most discriminatory and the ones that have been the most gatekeeping and the ones that have provided the least amount of help are actually the socialists and the communists. Now, I actually recognize it because a similar thing happened to the anarchists. The thing is that a whole bunch of academics and affluent people started speaking out for the movement when they did not truly represent the movement. So a lot of people have this kind of idea of Antifa or anarchists and stuff like that, and that's a new school thing that was really brought out by, you know, and I don't really like the term, if you have virtue you should signal it, but the thing is that they are co-opting and exploiting the issues of the poor to give themselves a moral high ground that they can, you know, use to spit down and justify the most extreme, even, right, oppressing people who are actual members of the groups that they are supposedly trying to save, right? So for all the people out there that's Antifa and stuff like that, and I'm not saying you're wrong to criticize Republicans, right? They're not perfect at all. But, okay, if you want to look at fascists, right, look up online, right? Not saying that I'm right or wrong, right? Or you could even trust this information, but how many people did fascists kill? And how many people did communists kill, okay? There's a stark difference as in terms of just pure numbers, right? So you want to say I'm anti-Nazi, I'm anti-fascist, punch a Nazi, blah, 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 all this other stuff, okay? Who's killed more people? Communists? Come on. So, look, I'm not saying if you're someone who sympathizes with communism, a lot of people have believed in communism, and you know, I'm not saying communism always has to be bad, but you guys have to be much more skeptical about what's going on, okay? If there's Antifa out there, I would say I'm an anti-communist. I'm not going to wear a mask and go around and start lighting things on fire. You know, I mean, what would happen is we're actually going to the Communist Party USA headquarters. That's right, they own a building in Manhattan. You know, these communists, they're hilarious, yeah? I thought they own a building in Midtown Manhattan. Oh my God. There's a lot of, you know, they're not necessarily so bad because there's a lot of not-for-profits out there that also, right, like fighting, Common Cause. They never applied to me, by the way. I also support the fight against Citizens United, but there's all of these not-for-profits. Their offices are right in the financial district of Manhattan, right? Are they really? Yo, come on, man. All right, so once again, not saying everything they did is bad, right? Like, they are having a lawsuit about they're a lefty organization, but they are actually revealing, right, problems with election machines in New York. So right now, all the victims of communism on August 28th, look it up, okay? This is an international day. It's called the Black Ribbon Day, and this is actually the day that recognizes, or, you know, the suffering of so many people that suffered under communism, the authoritarian rule, and the straight up, you know, oppression that went on. So communism can be extremely dangerous, and we're gonna march on the 28th. We're gonna meet up at 1 o'clock. We've got a shout out to Glenn Nocera from Brooklyn Tea Party. He says he's gonna try to make it. We got who else? Tom Zamich, right, formerly ran for Congress against Grace Meng. Said says he should try to be there. We got some other, Marty Dolan, right, running against AOC, Democrat, right? This is not a partisan event. This is just open to everybody. Of course, I'm going to be there. And we got some other, like John Riccatone, right? Coming out of Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, right? Former police officer and former education council district leader. So, and once again, there are people who might watch this and say, oh, cops, ooh, yucky. You know, some of them are bad and some of them are good. When they do bad, yeah, they should be held accountable. When they do good, they should be celebrated. And shout out to Stephen Lee, who's actually carried on the work of Serpico to reveal corruption going on in the, for the people that are anti-police, police are out here on the street too. And sometimes, right, like I've been homeless for a large portion of my life. And sometimes the cops roll up and, they're understanding, right? Sometimes cops give you a hard time, sometimes cops are understanding and nice, right? So once again, what kind of person applies a label, right? Like gay, trans, Muslim, Jewish, right? Yeah, police, whatever, and says you're bad because you have this label, okay? People are more than the labels that you ascribe to them. So once again, this is also true for communists. Shout out to Dermot Hudson. He's actually a communist from the UK that's always been receptive to and, will acknowledge him when I talk to him versus almost every single... I think there's one communist in the US who actually will talk to me. But all the rest of them, I send them emails. It just goes into the garbage bin. They don't talk to me at all. They're not interested in helping me or my coalition, right? So, yeah, so I hope you guys make it out there. It should be a very interesting time. Once again, look up August 28th. It's called the Black Ribbon Day. And this is to really commemorate the victims of communism. And just so you know, for the people out there that say, oh, Zoran's a socialist, not a communist. I actually like Zoran in some ways, right? He kind of, like, you see him on his bike all the time, right? I feel like he has more credibility, or he really believes it more than a lot of his peers. But you can see the people around him, like Morris Katz, Fight Agency, DSA leadership that's trying to disempower the general membership. They stay there for the people. Nah, it's all over the place. It's all over the place. There's a new aristocracy that's pushing themselves into power using this pain and suffering of the poor. Okay, why aren't they helping the longest one of Christmas Day history, disabled, or all these other people, right? War victims gentrified out of the war movement. Yeah, so that's what's up. Hope I see you there. Please contact me. By the way, I'm also especially reaching out to people from Venezuela, people from China, people from Vietnam, people that have survived communist regimes, to help school these kids that want to listen to their bougie professors, all right, that have never really lived the struggle, but who've read a lot of books and have a comfy degree and want to be revolutionaries. Y'all could be part of the movement. Y'all don't get to replace us. Y'all are bugging, all right? August 28th. Vote Republican. That's what's up.